You did not run out of bites, you ran out of plastics. There is a difference, and most anglers never figure it out. They blame the lake, blame the cold front, blame the color, when the real problem is sitting torn in half on the end of their line. The bait got bit, it caught a fish, and then it quit. And by the time you rig a fresh one, the school has slid off and the window is shut. Here is the part the tackle aisle would rather you not think about. Some of the most famous soft plastics in bass fishing are famous for a reason. They catch fish. Nobody is arguing that. But catching fish is only half the job. The other half is staying on the hook long enough to catch the next one. And a whole shelf of hyped, salted, scented, hyper-soft baits are built to do the first thing and quietly fail the second. 7 soft plastic brands can waste your cast that way, not because they are junk, but because they cost you fishing time you will never get back. Then there are 3 that actually hold up. The worst offender on this list is one almost everybody defends, so do not bail early. Number 1. Yamamoto Senko.
All right, the new Yamamoto Ned Senko. Have it on a Gamakatsu finesse jig head.
Let's start with the one that catches the most fishermen of all. The Senko is not a bad bait, and I will say that clearly before the comments fill up. It is one of the deadliest sticks ever poured. That slow, shimmying, salt-loaded fall puts bass in the boat that will not touch anything else. The problem is not whether it catches. The problem is what it costs you to keep it catching. That same heavy salt and soft body that makes the fall so good is exactly what makes the thing tear in half the second a base clamps down. Wacky rig it without an O-ring, and you are lucky to get 2 fish before it is pegboard confetti. Anglers who have done the math will tell you straight, it rips too much, and it is expensive for what you get. That is the Senko tax. You're not buying a worm, you're paying a subscription. If you want the same fall without the funeral, plenty of folks throw a Sticko, a Yum Dinger, a plain Zoom, or a Zadman Zinker Z, and keep the difference in their pocket. The Senko is not bad. It is just expensive confetti with a hook slot. Number 2. Kitech.
Of the Kitech Fat Impact in the 2.8 size.
If you have ever thrown a swing impact and watched that tail kick on a slow roll, you understand why people get obsessed. The action is unreal, and there is a reason it shows up under so many underspins and swim bait heads. But here is the trade nobody mentions at the register. That action comes from a soft body and a thin tail neck packed with heavy salt, and heavy salt is exactly what makes the bait rip apart. The thing that makes it swim is the thing that makes it die. You set the hook, you miss, you reel in, and you find the tail half torn off the shank. The people who love these baits, and a lot of them do, keep a tube of super glue in the boat just to make one bait survive a few more casts. Think about that. The bait is so fragile that the accepted fix is gluing it back together between fish. It works, it catches, but you are babysitting it the whole time. Kitech gives you $1 million action and gas station napkin durability. Throw it when the bite is hot enough to be worth the burn. Number 3. Googan.
The Bandito bug. Obviously one of the most popular Googan baits that we make. It has caught so.
And this is the one almost everybody defends. Here is where I lose half of you, so let me be careful. Googan plastics catch fish. The Bandito bug has a kicking action that flat out gets bit. And I am not going to sit here and tell you it does nothing, because that is a lie and you would know it. But go read what anglers actually say after a full day with them. The word that keeps coming up is soft. Too soft. Put a Bandito bug next to a pit boss, and the Bandito is noticeably more fragile, with the same action and a fraction of the life. People describe a couple of fish per bait before it is done. Claws gone, body blown out. There is a whole thread out there built around calling Googan garbage, and while that word is too harsh, the durability complaint underneath it is real and it is loud. The bait did not stop catching, it stopped surviving. That is the trap with hyped plastics. The action gets you to buy, and the softness keeps you buying. Googan's problem was never catching fish. The problem is surviving them. That bait came with a sauce and a short life expectancy. Number 4, Berkley Max Scent and Gulp. Scent feels like a cheat code. You see the word on the bag and your brain says, this one does the work for me. To be fair, scented baits have put fish in live wells at the highest levels, so this is not a scam, but scent is not a warranty. The formula that holds all that smell is softer than standard power bait, and softer means it does not hold up. punch a max scent craw into heavy cover, and you may be swapping a fresh one every 20 or 30 minutes. That is not fishing. That is re-rigging with extra steps. And gulp has its own catch. Leave it out of its juice, and it dries out, shrinks, and turns into a chip. So now you are managing hydration on a worm. If your bait needs a maintenance schedule, it had better catch fast, because the clock is running the entire time. Scent sells the bite. It does nothing for the body. Buy it knowing you are paying for smell, not for staying power. Number 5, Missile Baits D-Bomb. The D-Bomb is a flat-out good flipping bait. Pitch it into a laydown or a mat, and base eat it. No argument. But this is a fish catcher, not a tackle saver. Reviewers who put it through real punching work found the same thing the forums find. Most effective creature baits only give you a fish or two before they are wrecked, and even a good one like the D-Bomb tops out around 3 fish in heavy cover before the body is shredded. That is fine if you brought a case. It is a problem if you brought 1 pack and a long afternoon. The action that gets it bit is the same softness that gets it destroyed. There is nothing wrong with throwing it. There is something wrong with throwing it and expecting it to last. The D-Bomb catches base like it knows you packed 3 more bags. If you did not, you are going to run dry right when they turn on. Number 6, Roboworm. The Roboworm is a finesse legend, and it earns it. On a drop shot or a shaky head, that straight tail does subtle things in clear water that fire up pressured fish when nothing else will. But you have to understand what it is. Even the people who rank it the best drop shot bait on the market list, the same con in the same breath. The plastic is super soft, and it tears easily. This is a scalpel, not a crowbar. The second you start dragging it through rock, ripping it out of cover, or letting bluegill nibble it to death, you are abusing a tool that was never built for that. Fish it light, fish it slow, and it will produce all day. Fish it like a power bait, and you will spend the afternoon threading torn worms back onto a tiny hook. Roboworm is finesse. Stop treating it like a punching bait, and stop blaming it when it does exactly what a delicate bait is supposed to do. Number 7, Strike King Rage Tail and the whole appendage crowd. Appendages move water. That is the entire pitch. A rage craw kicks those big flapping pincers and base come find it, and to Strike King's credit, the rage line is built to take more abuse than most. So this is the most nuanced one on the list, but here is the catch. Every claw, every flapper, every dangling pincer is one more thing that can get torn off. And around bluegill, rock bass, perch, and short-striking bass, that is exactly what happens. The panfish chew the claws down to nubs before a real bass ever gets there. And now your water-moving bait is moving nothing. You are not fishing. You are feeding the lake. Appendages move water, and appendages also disappear. The bait works fine when it is whole. The trouble is keeping it whole long enough to matter in the spots where the little fish get to it first. So that is the list of baits that get bit and then quietly cost you the bite window. Now the part you actually came for. 3 brands that keep fishing after the fish are done with them. First to hold up. Z-Man. The Elay Z-Tech stuff is the closest thing to a soft plastic that refuses to die. The company calls it 10 times tough, and for once the marketing line is backed up by the guys actually fishing it. Anglers run a single Ned Rig TRD through dozens of bass, and it keeps swimming. And there are records of one little bait producing fish counts that would have eaten through an entire pack of standard plastic. That is the number that matters, not price per pack, price per fish. Now 2 honest catches. 1, you have to store it in its own bag, because Elastec reacts with regular plastisol and the 2 will melt into a mess if they touch. 2, it is buoyant, so it falls and sits differently than a salted Senko. And you have to fish it that way. Annoying in the tackle box, beautiful on the hook. This is what you tie on when the fish are biting and you refuse to spend the bite re-rigging. Second to hold up, Nikko. If Z-Man is the durability king, Nikko is the sleeper that outlasts everybody and almost nobody talks about. These Japanese baits, especially the Hellgrammite, are built like they were poured to survive a war. The fishing press has called them extreme, with single baits going into the hundreds of catches, and real buyers back it up with reviews about 50+ fish on one bug, for smallmouth, for creek and river fishing. And anytime you want a realistic bug profile that bluegill cannot destroy in 3 casts, this is the answer. It is not the bait for every base situation. It shines in finesse and natural presentations more than flat-out power fishing. But inside that lane, the only way you retire a Nico is to lose it to a snag. It does not wear out. It gets lost. If you are tired of feeding the panfish, this is the bait that makes them work for it. Third to hold up, X-Zone. This is the compromise pick, and that is exactly why it belongs here. It is not indestructible the way Z-Man and Nico are, but it is base-focused, it has real action, and it stays fishable a lot longer than the soft, hype baits at the top of this list. The Swammer and the Adrenaline Bug both get praised for doing the thing every angler actually wants, swimming and kicking like a fragile bait while surviving like a tough one. There are reviews out there of a single Swammer landing, 17 base and still going. That is the sweet spot. You do not always want a brick on your hook. Sometimes you want movement and collapse and a soft mouthfeel that makes a fish hold on a half second longer. X-Zone gives you that without acting like disposable bait. It is not trying to die on every hook set. And for a lot of base anglers, that middle ground is the smartest place to live. So here's the truth the pegboard will never tell you. A bait that catches fish and falls apart is not a bargain just because the action looks good in the bag. The Senko, the Kitech, the Bandito Bug, the scented stuff, the D-Bomb, the Robo-Worm, the Appendage Craws, they all get bit. Nobody is saying otherwise, but getting bit is only the down payment. Staying on the hook when the school fires up is what actually fills a stringer. Some plastics catch fish. Some plastics catch fishermen. And a few of them, the Z-Mans, the Nicos, the X-Zones, just keep working while everyone else is digging through the bag for a fresh one. Stop buying soft plastics that make you fish the package more than the pond. The best bait in your box is the one still on your hook when it matters. Subscribe to Tackle Hank and tie on something that survives the fish.